Hello and welcome to what is the best ninja loadout in the game. So with any ninja you get the perks of an additional jump and shadow stance, which basically is just good for melee weapons. So if you're using a ninja you want to be using melee weapons. Saurian Claws adds 9% of your current health to melee weapon damage. So with Blast of the Past you're going to have over 1 million health with this loadout, which means 9% of that, so roughly 90k damage, is added on to your weapon damage, which is a lot. To use Blast from the Past you need 2 Dino heroes as well. So I use Saurian Hide and Saurian Vigor, which Saurian Hide, while shield is depleted, it increases armor by 33, which just means you take less damage because Blast from the Past removes all shield. Saurian Vigor heals 2.125% of your max health every 4 seconds, so roughly 20k health every 4 seconds, which is not much, but it's still helpful. With Battle Beat, eliminating 10 enemies in 9 seconds grants Rockin' Rift, which increases damage by 50% and melee attack speed by 32%, which is a good buff for melee weapon damage. But for some reason, there's a glitch where if you use Paleo Luna, you only have to eliminate 5 enemies instead of 10, which just makes this loadout even better. Anatomy Lesson just increases swords, axes and scythes crit rating by 15. Legendary Blade means that during Shadow Stance, it increases sword damage by 25%. I'm going to assume if you have all these heroes, then you must be pretty far into the game, so that's why I've paired these up with the Storm King's Ravager, which is just a really good sword. On the Storm King's Ravager I use triple attack speed and crit damage, as well as energy element. Because of Anatomy Lesson, the crit damage is 32.5, which would only be 17.5 without Anatomy Lesson. I use the Storm King's Ravager because, assuming that you have this loadout, you probably have a lot of stuff and probably have defeated the Storm King. But any other sword really works with this loadout. I would recommend double attack speed and 1 crit damage with this loadout. You don't necessarily need 3 attack speed. As you can see here, it says damage is 29.4 thousand, which plus 9% of 800,000 would be an additional 80k. Well, ish, but just under that. So we're saying about 100,000 damage here. And with a critical hit chance, it's 32.5%. So, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. So, 1 or 2 of those is basically confirmed to be a crit, which is good. And with the triple attack speed, you can do a lot of damage. So, that's a lot of damage. And critical hit damage is just 310% extra. So instead of 100,000, you'd be dealing 300,000. Which, I mean, there's a low, well, it's not really that low, but there is a chance that all 4 hits could be crits. And if that is the case, then you'd be dealing 1.2 million damage. In what? 0.27? So, well, you could do 3 of that in a second. So we're looking about 3.6 million damage a second with this loadout, and the Storm King's Ravager, which is 144, but any sword really works, any sword. With the Storm King's Ravager as well, every 8 hits you want to be doing a heavy attack, which sends a beam out, which deals how much more damage? 245%. So yeah, look, roughly only 5 kills to get Rockin' Rift, which is what the thing around me is right now. That's way more than 8 hits, and then you just send out the beam, kill a bunch of them, deal some more damage, send out the beam. So yeah, as you can see, the only downside to the loadout is healing. But if you have a constructor on your team and they use a wooden coal, ally standing on structures affected by base heal for 22.5 base health and 2 energy, but mainly the health. If you have someone on your team with that perk, then you'll be pretty good for health. Also, you have I forget what it's called, but adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush just gives you more health midway through the fight. You can activate it whenever midway through the fight. If you're quick, you can get Paleoluna right now. You can also get Prehistoric Izza, as well as Triceratops Ramirez. So that's 3 out of the 6. That's survivors. 3 out of the 6 you can get right now. If you were able to get White Out of Fiona from Hit the Road last week, the week before, last week? No, it was within the last month at least. But if you're able to get her, then that's 4 out of 5. And also, Breakbeat Wildcat you can get right now from Rad Llamas. If you're good on tickets, you can get, well, you can just keep buying them until you get her. As far as I'm aware, Swordmaster can only be gotten from main quests. I'd rate the loadout at 95%, because the only bad thing about it is that you don't have enough health sometimes.